to know you were still with us on our breakfast show. Good morning, Delta. This Tuesday morning, it's the very last Tuesday in the month of January. How time flies. Okay, for today, we are bringing you our first interview segment. And what's new? No longer new, but still very hot. And that's talking about the embattled Onoge saga or CJN saga. He, as a person, wouldn't really have a saga. He wouldn't feel concerned. But then yesterday at the Federal Capital Territory of Lagos and some other parts of Nigeria, it was a harvest of protests. And we had a very funny protest they were, because you had the pro and those that were anti. And so this morning we want to take a shot at quelling the protests. And what's the latest? What do we really do? And as citizenry, because whether we like it or not, even though it's in court, we just must talk about it to get our nation moving. We're talking about the Code of Conduct Tribunals and the case of the embattled, I prefer to use because it's not formal, and Walter Onoge, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, whom was asked to step aside by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari on account of code of talking about false declaration of assets, ownership of domiciliary accounts, and all of that. This morning we have people who should know in the house to talk to us about quelling the protest. Seated to my left, that will be your right at home, we have a legal practitioner, Albert Agbenson. He's also a public affairs analyst. Okay, on your screen right now we have Ben Duno. Ben Duno is the senior correspondent, the Sun newspaper. He's also the former chairman, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Warri correspondent, Warri Delta State. Good morning. And of course, joining us now the least is Albert Agbenson, who's a legal practitioner and also a public affairs analyst right here in Warri. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Delta.
Okay. Now, I'd like to start with you, Ben Duno, because yesterday we heard the Honorable Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, say that the media has not been fair as far as this issue is concerned, talking about the case of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onoge. And of course, the lawyer here will tell us this morning how to refer to him really. Should I say formal or not? Given yesterday now we had the Nigerian Bar Association has said that there shall be, lawyers are not going to court. For the first time I actually see lawyers protesting. I thought it was not fit and proper. Okay. And they're not going to court for today and tomorrow. And of course we had other concerned members of the judiciary also taking similar stands, but for a few. Now, in reaction, the Honorable Minister for Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said that the media, he fingered the media as one of the factors being responsible for the many protests. What would you say the role of the media should be in cases like this, and how fair have they been?
Thank you once again. Good morning, Twitter. I want to disagree with the Minister for Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, on the issue raised against the media. I don't want to agree that the media has done badly in addressing this issue. I think by and large, the media has been able to dish out to the public domain what they should know about what's going on. They reported the issue the way it comes out, both from the presidency and then also from the Ministry of Justice. It has to do with Onoge. They give every stakeholder in this issue fair hearing. So to me, I'm not going to agree with what the minister said concerning the media. The media has been fair to all concerned.
The media has not been sensational, do you know?
But I want to say there is a way you look at this whole matter. I think for me, you blame more of this whole brouhaha on the Constitution. That I think
the Constitution?
The Constitution, yes.
What's the disconnect? What's the miss there?
Now, the Constitution has a lot of disconnects, with the Nigerian populace. One, it is confusing.
No, but two, as regard this case specifically,
as regards yes,
suspension of a sitting CJN.
Okay, now I will give you an instance now. The Constitution gave the CCB the right to probe any political officer who defaulted in declaring assets. CCB has the right. Yes, we're going to do. Has the right to do it.
Okay.
And the Constitution also, in the same Constitution also, 1999 Constitution was amended, also stipulated that the CJN has a procedure at which it could be tried by NJC and also it could be recommended for dismissal or for by the NJC to the presidency, which also has to seek the 2/3 of the National Assembly to do that. So it's so confusing. The presidency also saw the loophole in the constitution.
So what's your state of confusion before I come to the legal practitioner to enlighten us more? I want to know specifically your state of confusion, Ben. When you say it gives the right to the Code of Conduct Bureau, at the same time the National Judicial Council, on issues of procedures, due process towards suspending a citizen CJN, which one of these procedures have we followed in this case?
They followed all the procedures.
Okay.
First of all, the CCB has acted the way it should act by asking the CJN to come and seize the asset that he hasn't declared. I wish he hold up that yes, hasn't declared such asset. So he has hold up to it.
Okay.
And secondly, the NJC too felt the case should have come to them first before going to
they felt, or the Constitution says the case should have come to them.
The Constitution didn't say any matter involving crime against the CJN should go to the NJC. It's misexpression of misconduct that they say should go to the NJC.
But for the NJC, is it acting as anyway? Let me come to the lawyer. I'll hold you right there. Albert Agbenson, when we talk about the role of the NJC in disciplinary action against certain judicial officers, what is it we have done wrong in this process? Have we done something wrong? Because it says they've so far so good. There's nothing that has gone unconstitutional here.
Nothing. We have not done anything wrong. The person or the people that have taken all the wrong steps is.
When I say we, I'm looking at us as the federal government of Nigeria.
We are part of Nigeria, but we are not federal government, so I can't take responsibility for recklessness and all that. Look at it. The position is this: the Constitution does not have any problem. There is no lacuna, no problem at all. The NJC has its role when it comes to dealing with any misconduct or dealing with any issue concerning a judicial officer. Let me tell you, there is difference between the Constitution wasn't stupid when he used the word judicial officers.
Okay.
Being a judicial officer and being a public officer in this sense is not the same. You understand? Code of Conduct Bureau deals with public officers. NJC handles issues of the judicial officers. When you want to
the judicial officers are not public officers.
Yes, but in this sense, no. In this sense, no, because there are. Look at it. Let's open our minds a little bit. How many of us have seen a police officer or an army officer in their uniform with their rank being tried for a criminal offense? What they do first, they go for a home trial in the case of the military. Or in the case of the police, the same thing. Then they properly dismiss them there and hand them over to the processes of the state to take care of. These are police officers. But we're not talking of an arm of government. In fact, the head of an arm of government. So there's no lacuna. There's no issue.
So what are the procedures, the due process that the federal government has
followed? What have they not followed? You have investigated. Haven't found that you have investigated and you have found out that there are issues. Hand over your investigations to NJC. NJC looks at it and say, and look at it. Not go say the fact that he's the chairman. That doesn't matter. There are precedents. Once any matter is involving you, the NJC is sitting today, for example, the CJN, I'm using my words very clearly, the CJN as in Honorable Justice Omoge, is not going to be part of that meeting because the matter concerns him. And Honorable Justice Tanko, because he has also gotten himself involved.
Did he get himself involved, or he was made? He's acting under directive or appointment.
He is not expected to act under the directive of the president. He does not work for the president. He works for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and there are rules. If In fact, with the greatest respect, I will be surprised if the hammer does not fall on him when the NJC finally decides, because there are precedents in the legal profession.
What has he done wrong?
By submitting himself to be
for appointment.
Yes, for appointment.
He should have rejected the president's.
Yes.
So she said, "Come and." Is he next to?
Yes,
he is. So by right, he's next to Walter Onoge.
Yes.
By right, if anything happens to Walter Onoge, if anything had happened, he is the next man.
Properly, yes.
So he should have just taken himself. You're bringing our mind back to way back. Alamesia, even though there are two different scenarios.
Okay.
When former President Goodluck Jonathan was deputizing, and when Alamesia got embattled, he went running away because he didn't know the size of the. In this case, are we being overly professional as against being constitutional here?
No.
Because if somebody is next in line,
yes,
and there is a challenge, it follows that the next in line, takes over.
Where is the challenge? Where is the challenge? Somebody, Tanko knows how these matters are handled. He knows that he didn't become a judge. Why did he become a judge until the NJC submitted his name? He knows Tanko has recommended. Yes, Tanko has been part of a panel that has punished a judicial officer for accepting an appointment from a state government without the recommendation of the NJC.
So in this case, it was the NJC that ought to have recommended the person that takes over from Walter Onoge.
Yes, there is a lacuna, there is a problem.
All right, I'll hold you there again. Let me come to Ben Aduno. You both differ on this one. It's divergent view, just like the protest all across yesterday. We're looking at quelling this protest from what the lawyer here has said, which is pretty, say 80% of lawyers or judicial officers, this is a position they are actually holding, as to say there's so much going wrong. And then the citizenry themselves, we had people who were saying out of knowledge or ignorance, I don't want to be the counsel to defense here, but then there's some who are saying that if there is an anti Onoge's case, there should be a pro. And so the protest is spread. Looking at the media, what role do you think should be theirs in quelling these protests? We just heard last night that the Code of Conduct Tribunal has adjourned trial of the CJN indefinitely.
They have achieved what they wanted to achieve.
Indefinitely.
Yes.
Okay. And so until appeal court gives a ruling, right?
You can go.
So what should the media be looking at in stopping all of this protest? Why these latest from the CCT is coming?
Yeah, before I go into that question, I think I also want to correct the impression my learned colleague has made here. That's one thing I have with this issue of lawyers. Have a way to tinker with the law to suit their purpose. When they favor them, they're okay with it. If it's
even when it's not even when it is so stated in the constitution.
They will tinker with it and make sure that they use the one that is favoring them and bring it out to the fore. The question is clear on this. The CCB is empowered by law to look. Now it's trying to differentiate the issue of
no, because it's not the one trying it's the one to recommend. That's what he said.
He is trying to separate the CJN from being a public officer, executive officer. Now, what is the difference between a CJN and being a public officer?
He said in this case, I asked that question, and he said in this case, is a judicial officer.
In terms of disciplining, when you are disciplining a judicial officer,
for me, public officer.
It's not a matter of for you.
It's a military man or public officer.
A military man?
Yes.
No, it can be.
It's not a public officer.
It's not
a military man.
A military man has his own calling.
Education is the third arm of government, don't you know? Now we're talking about, because we have to generalize, that's why he gave that analogy, that in the case of the military, whether it's the police or the army, they have to go through the room, he says, go through all of that before the person is submitted.
Yes.
Even the person could be the robe or the rank or whatever, and then before he's giving out to say, okay, go ahead, we have done as. In this case, it says that is exactly the role of the NJC. which has not been followed here.
Because
it's the NJC that recommended for appointment.
We are talking about asset declaration. Who has that authority to look at assets of any public officer in this country?
In this case, I would say any here, when it's the office of the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Chief Justice is an appointment made by the federal government, sworn in by the federal government himself,
recommended by
the NJC, and sworn in by the federal government. It's an appointment, even though
so in dismissing such an officer, should the NJC who has recommended be involved?
The man is not being dismissed now.
In suspension, should that same body be involved?
Now, the issue is that all the people involved in this matter now, the presidency, they saw the loophole in the constitution that there is no aspect of the constitution that talk about suspension of the CJN. So what I'm doing now is, okay, we are not dismissing, we are suspending.
Okay.
Now we're moving. We are suspending.
Now it's a matter of semantics. It's a matter of semantics now. Leaving that there, because if we go on that, we're not going to live here today. I'm looking at quelling this protest. It gives the international community or non-national amongst us a sense of insecurity. Even Nigerians feel insecure with the number of protests and the size and the momentum, the passion we saw yesterday. How can this be called? What's the role of the media?
But I think the media should sustain the tempo, by being fair to all concerned. That is my own concern about the media, how media works. Take everybody the way it comes. If the pro Nigeria protest is going on, talk to them, ask them the reason why they're doing that, and hear it to the public. Also, the same thing with the anti-Nigeria protest.
Has the media been doing that?
Of course, they have been doing it. Every media has their own bias, quite all right. But I think they've been doing that quite all right. All of them are based on their bias about the issue. They've been doing that. So I wouldn't hold them responsible. They should keep doing it. What I say about this whole thing is that a lot of things will come out, a lot of things will play out at the end of the day, but we'll still get where we're going to.
Where are we going to? That's my interest.
Now, where we're going
in this case, where does the federal government intend to take us to?
Now,
in the face of an election month, no longer year.
What the federal government is doing right now is to ensure that fighting corruption does not stop with just being time of election period. It can come anytime. Onoge has accepted that.
Talking about time, is this right timing?
Anytime is right. It's for fighting corruption.
I think I need to.
Now the issue is this: nobody has come out to say.
Nobody
has come to deny that. Even the NJC has not come to deny that Onoge is not having this money. The claim he's having. The man say he has the money. Now, how can a judge be having $3 million in his account?
Please,
do we have people in government who are having much more than that, who have been fingered, yet nothing has been done for them, who, even though they have been their evidences to show, and then their places where we've seen, especially under this administration, they cross carpet, they defect to the other side of the carpet, and then things are stored at that point.
For now, Onoge is the man that has the storm.
Okay, I'll leave it there. The lawyer in the house again, Agbenson, talk to us.
This issue of corruption, I find it very funny. Look at it. You cannot drive away darkness with darkness. With the greatest respect. One of the most corrupt leadership we have had in this country is this Buhari administration.
I'll hold you right there. You tell me why
I
and
will
how.
do. I will do.
After this time out, we shall be back. Please don't go anywhere.
Nobody here is hostile. Who there? My laptop! Who collect my laptop for this hostel? Who take my laptop? My laptop of 250 million. talk again. Now me talk now. Wait it. Now you take up. Now you want to say you be blind man. Blind man is zero. I go report to the school authorities. You can see. Look how I got this school. Look, I go. Where's this guy? Oh, you like.
Right, welcome again. It's still our show from Warri. Good morning, Delta. We call it the GMD show. And this morning we've been talking the embattled CJN saga. We've been talking with two guests of our very honorable guests in the house. They have posited differently. Okay, they have diverse opinion on this one. We're talking about quelling the protest. First, Ben Duno, a senior correspondent, the Sun newspapers, and also former chairman Nigerian Union of Journalists, Warri, correspondent Warri, and Albert Agbenson, legal practitioner right here in Warri, have both said that on the one hand, there is nothing unconstitutional that the federal government has done, and that things have been politicized. That's coming from Ben Duno, who has said that it is in the bid of the anti-graft war success that this case is coming up, that it is just out of place for CJN to have that amount of money in his account. Albert Agbenson has said that the way that this case is being prosecuted, it leaves a lot to believe that position of Duno, Ben, that first of all, when we talk about the Chief Justice of Nigeria, we're talking about the head of the third arm of government of this country. We're not just talking any public officer. And so the Constitution has said that the National Judicial Council, NJC, is empowered. I mean, they recommended in the first place his appointment. They screened, they did a lot of things. And so they have a role to play before this personality should be put in the public domain, even though he is a public officer. We're still with him, and he was reacting to the fact that this cannot just be the success fighting the anti-graft war, anti-corruption. When we left, he's going to pick it up from there. But while the break was on, we had walked into the studio Sheriff Muladi. He is the coordinator of the Center for Environmental Peace and Environmental Justice in Nigeria. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
All right, before I come to you, Sheriff Muladi, let me take your conclusion on that position. This is not just anti-corruption fight. What is it?
I just want to say this. Like I said before, you do not fight. You can't put away darkness with darkness. This administration has been trying to achieve a good goal by a bad means. For example, an armed robber just wants a good life. He wants to have cars, he wants to have everything that is good. But what is wrong is that he doesn't follow the process. He now goes, just gets a gun and stops another person and collects. That's what this administration has been. You say you want to fight corruption, you do it illegally. People are given judgments. You choose the one to obey. Look at it. One of the things we have fought against, we have been angry about in Nigeria is when you procure ex parte orders in funny ways. That's what this administration has done. A case pending, all parties are in court. The matter is adjourned to another date, and suddenly behind the parties in court, an ex parte order comes up. It is not done anywhere.
Talk to us how it should have been done.
An ex parte order is done in cases of extreme urgency. Something is about to happen. If this thing is not done, there will be crisis or there will be problem. And there's no opportunity. You don't have the time to hear the other side. It's okay, let us just do it so that there can be peace, there can be order. All the parties were in court. Everybody has finished. A matter has been adjourned. And an ex parte order must have the name of a lawyer. The motion itself must have a seal to say this lawyer filed. All those things were absent. Is that not corruption? People are the highest. Buhari is a corrupt man.
We hold you right there, Albert Agbenson. Sheriff Muladi, I'm with you on this one. Now, you've heard the different positions they have taken before you walked in. We are looking this morning at the possibility of quelling the protest. If you saw the protest yesterday all across the country, like we said before you came in, it makes the citizen, even non-national, feel insecure. The UN, the EU, and the US and other bodies have all reacted to this issue. What exactly do you make of it in quelling this corruption? What this protest in the face of the Onoge saga? What do you think can be done?
Well, for me, as citizens of Nigeria, we are confused. We are confused in the sense that the judiciary, particularly the lawyers, are the one confusing Nigerians because of their personal interests on this issue. Yes, two wrongs cannot make a right. The CJN has committed some abnormality. The presidency also went further to also commit maybe another act. Now what we expect, and by their laid down procedures, as we were made to understand, is that
By theirs or by the constitution?
by the constitution of the judiciary.
Let's get you clear.
Yes.
Are you talking about the constitution of the Federal Republic of
I'm talking
Nigeria?
about the Federal Republic of
What does the
Nigeria. I'm talking
Constitution-
about their own.
Do you know what the constitution says about this?
Wait,
Lawyers don't have different constitution.
wait, let me analyze what I'm trying to do. They said it is the prerogative of the judiciary to recommend the CJ through the National Judiciary Council
For discipline.
for discipline and all. Now, this same CJ have admitted that he failed to declare some of the assets. Ordinarily, in a civilized society, it is expected for him to step aside or resign his appointment for the NJC to investigate or to reappoint. But unfortunately,
Not expected by law, by the constitution, by NJC, or this
No,
is just your
no,
position.
but because of the political intrigues over this issue, the presidency went further to suspend him and appoint their own choice. So it becomes
Is it their choice or is the man next in line?
it might be of course it's the man next in line, but it's their own choice because if you look at their own protest, if it's the man lying next in line, maybe they could have admitted it. And I know very well that all these protests that is going on in Abuja all through yesterday, they are all politically motivated.
Okay.
They are all politically motivated to create tension. Now, a lot of politicians' attention has been diverted from their elections. They will be struggling with the CJN issues until a week two. Then before they will turn to face the election is over. And then they will begin to protest irregularity in the election again.
So for you, this is the mission.
Is the mission already accomplished?
It's already accomplished.
It's already accomplished.
By who and
Well, by the interest party, they know what they are doing. Thank God we even have a lawyer here. They know what they are doing.
okay, let me continue.
Because when you carefully look at the removal or the suspension process, the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo,
It's a lawyer.
is a senior advocate of
Of
Nigeria, not
Nigeria.
just a lawyer,
Lawyer,
senior advocate of Nigeria, and is a professor of law. We have the honorable minister for the honorable minister for
Works.
housing, transport, and all those positions. Fashola is also a son. We have Professor Sage there. We have the Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, is there. We also have Festus Kayamo as his campaign. So all these are sounds inside.
So
There is no way they can take that decision without identifying a loophole, because all these lawyers, if you have been to court severally, you will know that they always create loopholes for each other to escape. And this expertise that is talking about, if you go to any court, you will see that they will create a loophole for expertise, and when they move to this side, they must always create a way
You have been in court several
Severally, and so we understood these people.
You're not
Using us.
You're not satisfied with the way our workers.
These are political gimmicks. What is political gimmicks?
Okay, I'll hold you right there, Sheriff Mulade. What's going on is, first of all, the protest, he says, are politically motivated, and the whole saga itself is a political gimmick. Okay, we don't have much time, but let's see what we can make of our time left. Ben, now you are in media. I want to pick something from what he said. He says the man already admitted that he owns those things. He even said the Esther codes, he gave reasons and all that. And that the next thing we should say, yes, there was a publication, I wouldn't subject to confirmation now. Someone cited from, he said the proper thing, in his opinion, was just for him to have stepped aside. And some other analysts have given the example of former Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, whom they said after the NYSC certificate saga, she stepped aside. The question I would have asked you, but I will give it to the lawyer, is that when you have you've committed an offense according to our law, the Constitution, and you step aside, does it end there? Where is Kemi Adeosun? Was she ever prosecuted? Is anyone asking about her whereabouts? Did she take all of those monies and left? Is she going to remit? I'm asking you, Ben, that in cases like this, because we're looking at fostering reoccurrence, as it were, and then quelling the processes, what should the federal government do now to ensure that these loopholes they themselves may have created, and then to reassure Nigerians that this election, in his words, are already concluded, foregone process as far as this the political gimmick is concerned?
Thank you. In southern Nigeria, I see that any public officer that is found wanting does not want to step aside to be tried. Only Nigeria here. Abroad, overseas, you will see there was a case in British, a judge that was called washing porn. When the court in washing porn, you have to resign. Come on, washing porn. Had to resign. Had to retire. Step aside for the case to be tried. But in Nigeria, when they saw that you are even a criminal, you are found wanting, you've been established, you will still want to be in office when the case is going. It is wrong. That's what explained. Okay, the moral burden on Onoge at the point he was charged of all this breaches of was to have step aside. That's okay, gentlemen. Call the NJC. I said, gentlemen, for this issue that come up against me, I can't preside over the NJC affair. Why this issue is hanging on my neck? Honorably, let me just step aside.
Well, you are the one that talked about timing earlier.
Yeah.
Why is it now? You said no time is too bad or too late. It's an election here. When the elections are done and we have misgivings, tribunals will be set up. And there are tribunals already set up over the media. I saw names of dead people as part of some of the heads and all of that. Now, there is this strong suspicion that this man is going to oversee some of these proceedings if the elections, whereas the elections have challenges. Can you really totally, detach that notion from all what's happening?
No, you can't. I think everything that's happening now is politically motivated. You can't take it away from it.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll hold you that. We have to wrap this up. Albert, I'm with you again as you conclude this morning. What do you think the political parties, but most especially members of the case of the position of Sheriff Mulade here is held by most Nigerians as well, that there is more confusion when you listen to the lawyers talk. Because now we have lawyers, we have senior advocates of Nigeria, as many as they are in this administration. We have some of them who are like, they are for what is happening. They support it. They give you reasons and quote part of the Constitution to say sections to say that it is in order. And then another line, the same way to see others, still lawyers saying that it's not in order. How can this confusion be stopped?
Two things. By the training of lawyers, we are trained to think independently. That's one. The number two, Number two, there are when people speak as lawyers, you must check their interest. You understand? You must check their interest. Then you look at the government.
Your interest,
you must check their interest. For example, right now, those things are there. But when you look at some things that you people are not looking at, have you heard the vice president or Fashola or any other lawyer come out to say something in support of this thing that you can actually rule against? That's one. Everybody is being quoted. Again, people are talking about he admitted. I have heard throughout all this bohaha what the CJN has directly said. Everything is an allegation. As a CJN, you will not play as somebody that is trained in the law. You will not follow this Nigerian system where trials are done in the media. Look at it. A lot of judges were just booted them out of their houses, made so much noise. How many of those judges have you heard was convicted? In Nigeria, they do investigations on the pages of newspaper. They do trials on the pages of newspaper. When it is time to really do the trials and come out with results, you see failures. The reason is that people just go and say things in the air that are not verified. A lot of people say lawyers are confused. There's nothing about confusion. Their interest is there because they are members of the government. But even in spite of that, every lawyer will agree. And this is the position of almost all lawyers, not even 80%, 98% of lawyers, that the procedures are wrong. When you say another committed the offense, but when somebody commits an offense, follow the procedure. Look at it. When you catch an armed robber, and you see someone, this man is an armed robber, and release him and kill him, is it not a criminal offense? All that laws on the face of the earth, not even Nigerian laws. What I say is follow due process. If due processes are followed, the legal profession is one profession that won't look at issues of sentiment. The agency has spoken, so it. Everything will be normal. Okay,
that's the last we'll be taking this morning on this topic. We have another interview coming up. Gentlemen, many thanks for being here this morning. A fair trial should be given to the CJN, that's position of the judiciary. But even if he has to be tried, first of all, the procedure and the process of this trial, even the allegation itself, the investigation itself, the judiciary are saying that it is faulted. And so you cannot come for equity with dirty hands, as it were, that they need to up their game. And for Ben, do you know, well, if you're found wanting, why not own up to whatever investigations there are, as against looking for where things are not. For instance, he's saying that if the money is actually there, let's investigate. For Sheriff Mulade, it is all political gimmick. It is a process that is almost forgone and concluded with what is happening. But he is saying that they should let Nigerians be at peace. They need to douse the tension, because right now for him, so many politicians have taken their minds away from the campaigns, and before they wake up from this slumber, the results will be announced and the elections are concluded. Whatever it is, we are together saying that the protests have to stop. They're saying that if the international community are watching us, but most importantly, Nigerians deserve equal rights. They deserve right to fair hearing. They deserve peace and indeed a fair, credible elections. We still have the case in court. Gentlemen, many thanks for being here this morning. We've been talking with Ben Duno, senior correspondent of the Sun newspaper, Albert Agbenson, a legal practitioner right here in Warri, and Sheriff Mulade, the coordinator for Center for Environmental Peace and Justice. Many thanks for being here, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Right, good morning, Delta. Continue. Safety Canna is up next. Stay tuned.